Hello and welcome again to Beneath the Bib for the latest of our interviews with prominent members of the FORDY Runs Running Club community for FORDY Runs Running Club TV. I'm Ian Wilkerson and I am delighted to be joined by one of our favourite Essex boys, dad joke aficionado, all-round good egg and lovely fella. I'm sure we're going to have half an hour of great laughs with Mr. Paul Bolton. How are you, sir?
After that introduction, I'm over the moon.
Oh, well,
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I'm good. You picked me up. You didn't mention anything about football because we promised we wouldn't. So
That's great. 48 seconds, and he's managed to mention football. But we're gonna park that bus for a little while because people aren't interested. People are interested. This season, I'm not interested. So people don't want to listen to about all that. They hear enough of that during the rest of the week. What they want to
talk about running.
They want to hear about your running story, mate. So I'm sure it's a very interesting tale, and you've got lots of stuff to regale us with and fill us in with all the details. Allow people to get to know a little bit more about you, not just those groan-infested jokes that sort of appear on the Facebook every now and then.
There's more to me than terrible dad jokes, mate.
I'm glad to hear it. So, well, when we start these interviews, we always kick off with talking about what you were like as a kid, Paul. So, can you fill us in on young Bolton? What was he like?
It was so long ago. I mean, So which I was born. So I'm a bit of a hybrid. I was born in Carlshorton, so I was born in Surrey, basically, and then I moved to Sussex when I was about 4, and I moved to a really happening place called Worthing, which you may or not have heard of, but I lived in Worthing for. About 19 years. Yeah, about 19 years. That's where I went to school. That's where I went to college. That's where I had my first job. That's where I kind of grew up. Worthing Sussex by the sea. And then I got a job with a company called Ford. Ironically, as time was obviously tell. It was a weird thing because I had a job at so just go back a little bit. So I was when I was at school, I was quite a good student. I was actually I was quite a brainy little boy. I was quite into encyclopedias and all of that. I was actually a little bit of a boffin at school. I knew all the names of the dinosaurs, all that kind of stuff. As kids do, I loved all of that. So I did all right, really well at my GCSEs and all of that. That was actually the first year of GCSEs. That's how old I am. Missed out on O levels, not that old, and then I went to college, and I started to struggle a little bit academically. I was going down a bit of an engineering path, but my maths wasn't so good. I didn't do particularly well at my A levels. I ended up just going to university for 1 year. I went to Brighton University. Really struggled. I ended up doing just completely the wrong course, and then I got a job. I was working for British Gas at the time, just like answering the phones and all that in Crawley. And then I picked up the Evening Standard one day, and I don't often buy that newspaper. It had an advert in it for come and work for Ford as like an undergraduate. And I went and did the assessment centre and all of that. And the rest is history. And I got a job with Ford. So I had to leave sunny Sussex to move to Essex. I say I was about early 20s. And I started working for Ford. I started for Dagenham, and then I worked at Basildon. Did a degree while I was working, so that was really good. Got sponsored to do that, and I've been in Ford now, coming up for 32 years.
So you've been a FORDY for 32 years.
I've been a FORDY for 32 years.
You're the longest serving FORDY in the group, probably. Apart from Melvin.
Apart from Melvin. Well, it's funny you say that, because Melvin, I bumped into Melvin at the National Running Show. And I always have a good chat with Melvin. He's such a lovely bloke. And Linda, they're lovely couple. And we had a good old chinwag. And I don't know how the subject came up, but I told him I worked for Ford. And he's a massive Ford fan. He's had all the cars he's had been Ford. He's been over to Detroit and visited the headquarters and all of that. And we had a good old chat. And he said, "I love your job. I love your job. What you do. It was brilliant." But so I've been a FORDY 32 years. And what I do, my current job at the moment, I'm in market research. So I go out and I go and talk to customers. Basically, I set up clinics where we bring customers in and they come and look at. I show them new stuff, so stuff that's like 5 years away from being on the market. So they come and look at the transit van to be. It's all about electric things, electric cars and vans at the moment. So yeah, it's really interesting actually. So that's kind of where what ended up with me in. Living in here in Essex, in sunny Billericay. So I've been living. Yes, I've been about 32 years. So I class myself as kind of from Essex now. I do.
You're an adopted Essex boy.
I am an adopted Essex boy. Yeah.
So what about sport? When you were growing up and stuff like that, and running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always loved sport. Mainly watching. I kind of grew up watching the FA Cup final when the FA Cup final was like the only football match that was on the telly apart from the World Cup, back in the day. I've watched, Grandstand all day on a Saturday. I'd watch everything on Grandstand. That used to be a program about sport, kids. That's the millennials and the Gen Z's out there. Yeah, Grandstand on a Saturday. And yeah, I should spend my summers watching the Test match on the telly and all that. I used to love all of that. But doing sport, I wasn't even that good early on. Sports day. I was better at sprinting. Probably so I'm about 6'2", and I've been 6'2" since I was about 13. I was always the big lad at school. It's funny. I was watching Pagey's interview a couple of weeks ago, and he said, "I did the shot put." I did the shot put as well. All the best people do the shot put, but it's probably because we were like the big lumps at school. Like, so
I didn't.
You go and do the shot put, Paul.
I remember saying to him that they didn't try to sort of like mould you into a second row forward or a centre in the basketball team or anything like that.
Yeah, I did have to play a bit of rugby, my rugby playing career didn't last long. I knocked some teeth out and. I kind of went off it a little bit. You get hurt playing rugby. I didn't like that. But then as I grew up a little bit, I was not bad at cricket actually. Not bad at cricket. I used to play for a Sunday league team in a place called Arundel in West Sussex. Lovely place actually.
Yeah, no.
Proper. Yeah, lovely down there. Proper village cricket club. With the. Keep around with sandwiches for tea and all of that kind of stuff. It was lovely. So I dabbled a bit of cricket. My dad. So my mum and dad, they're still with us, thank goodness. They live down in Sussex still. And my dad was a really good sportsman. He was he was a really good footballer, really good cricketer. I was never as good as him, but everybody says it sounds a bit of a cliche now, but I really didn't like running. And when I was at school, we used to go out and do the cross country because I was a bit big and not that fit didn't have that much endurance. I didn't really enjoy it. So I do remember doing a couple of cross country things at school and thinking, I hate that. I had just dragging my heels at the back and
I'm really waiting until we find someone on one of these interviews.
I know.
They loved athletics at school, and it was just like a natural progression. Everyone seems to have hated it, and we have to say to everybody, well, when was the epiphany? When did it all change?
Yeah.
When did you become obsessed with it, like the rest of us?
Well, yeah. So So I did. So I dabbled a bit of running. I used to go out and tried a bit of running. I used to live in Brentwood, not too far from Billericay, and like in a house share in my early days in Ford. I went out for a run into some local woods, and I got lost. I couldn't find my way out. It was like the Blair Witch Project. I was going to get stuck in there overnight, but.
Well, you just went out and fancied it, did you?
I fancied it. I thought
I'll go for a run.
Yeah, I thought I need to do a bit of exercise. You know, I've always once I got into adulthood and I could afford going to a gym. I like the gym, so I did like the gym. I used to go on the cross trainer and stuff like that, and a little buff. You know, if I did 5 minutes on the treadmill, I thought that was great. You know, I thought I'd done a lot here, so that's the whole running thing. It kind of started with park run. They started up a park run in Billericay. I'd never heard of park run before. It's just 2017, so park run was quite well established. And Mrs. Bolton, who's a very good runner, she said, "Oh, why don't you go down and do park run? It's, you know, you might enjoy it." Because she always tried to encourage me to run a bit more, but if I ever tried running with her, I couldn't keep up with her. She's too quick. But so I went to park run, and this is the epiphany, Wilco. This is the I just thought this is brilliant. I thought because it's where I go. It's the local park. It's about 1 kilometre from my house, so it's a nice little warm up. I obviously walked there now I run there, but no, I think I walked there on the first go, and I don't know, I just liked it. It was like all these people turn. I thought, wow, this is an event, you know, and there's people cheering you as you go around and clapping you and giving you encouragement, and then the end of it, obviously, you get you put your barcode in, you get your time, and you're waiting for your photos, and you're waiting, and you get your text and all the pictures on the Facebook group. And I thought, this is quite cool. This is quite, you know, this feels like, you know, I like the community spirit of it all. So the first one I did, it took me like, I don't know, 35 minutes or something like that. I had to walk a few times. It's quite hilly in Billericay, and we have to do multiple laps, as some people some people know, and some people have moaned about Kieran. And anyway, when he came, he gave me a lot of stick about that. Anyway,
so many people like they start running and then they gravitate to a community. You sort of like did the community bit first. You sort of like were in reverse almost, that you chanced on the community and then that got you running.
Yeah, and I just thought, well, this is, you know, there's sort of 300-400 people here. This is like a movement, you know. It's like you know, so on a Saturday morning. So I did. So this is 2017. So I did my first one. Then I went back a few weeks later, and my time improved. And I thought, wow, you know, nailed it. You know, I went around in, I don't know, 32 minutes or so. I only stopped twice to walk. And then I went round, and then I thought, I'd love to try and get under 30 minutes. So, but then I started having a bit of knee problems, because there's something I thought, well, maybe you don't like running, maybe your body doesn't like running. Anyway, I pushed myself a little bit. I managed to get under 30 minutes. But I had a bit of swelling in my knee, and then about 2 weeks later, my meniscus went pop, and I thought, well, that's the end of that then. But I really wanted to get back into it. You know, I was kind of like this. You know, I was enjoying myself. I managed to get under 30 minutes. I managed to get round without stopping. It's a little bit like I kind of put like I play a bit of golf now and again. Not I haven't played for a couple of years, but it's like if you can ever break 100 on golf, it's kind of like that's a big kind of chinning bar, isn't it? You get yourself under 100 on golf, and you know, double figures, and wow, you know, I'm getting better. So, and I like that thing about the park run that you set your own challenges, and you try and improve yourself every time. So I kind of like that. So when I had my knee, the old meniscus keyhole surgery, I had all that sorted out, and I had about 4 or 5 months off, and I went back into it, sort of all the way through 2018, and I just kept going every week. And I just kept going every week. I thought this is quite cool. And I started to chuck in an extra 5K during the week. Because I just, part run wasn't enough for me. And then I noticed that, my weight was, my weight was falling off a little bit. I lost a couple of pounds. I thought that's quite cool. And I also used to think on a Saturday morning, I'll go out and do a part run. I thought, I could have a couple of cheeky beers later on. They're a bit more guilt-free. So there's a little bit of motivation there. But I found, it's losing a little bit of weight equivalent to getting faster. So I did a little bit of a diet and lost a couple of stone within sort of like a year. It just caught my imagination. It really did.
And when did you start sort of like thinking that 5K on a Saturday morning wasn't quite enough for you, and looking at races and stuff?
Well, I think then I got in. Then obviously we went into COVID. So 2018, 2019, I was part run regular, and I did start to put in tried a couple of extra routes, and I managed to do a 10K, just like running around the streets and everything. I didn't really know anything about races at that point. To be honest with you, there was the point in my life, and I thought the only race that there actually is the Olympics races and the London Marathon, because that was what was on the telly. I used to love watching the London Marathon. So I used to be a real telly addict for sport. But so we obviously went into COVID, we went into lockdown, and that was all we could really do exercise wise. We were allowed an hour, weren't we, to go out, and an hour to go out and do your exercise during the week. It was running for me, and just started to get better. Eventually went out and ran sort of around the streets of Billericay and did a half marathon, just building it up. And I thought, building up a bit of stamina here. I'm actually getting reasonably good at it, and the times are coming down. So it's been a bit of a progressive. Been a bit of a progressive thing for me. And then I thought, why don't you try a race? Well, obviously all the races were cancelled through into 2021, and I found myself in with work. And I was up in Leicestershire with work, and I'd started thinking about races, starting to look at where races were and sussing all of that out. And I ended up going to do a Chase the Sun at Presswold Airfield, which was a run-through event. Presswold Airfield, it's like the Leicester 10K or something like that, they called it. And it was a Chase the Sun event, I say. But honestly, Wilco, it was biblical weather. It was an airfield. An airfield's a windy the best of the time. It was just sideways rain. We had to do this kind of, and you probably did a few of these as we came out of lockdown, where they kind of staggered the start. So
the Formula One type grid.
That was it. Yeah, we had to like a 2-second gap between everybody starting off. So running down this runway, it was soaking wet. Anyway, I did it, and but that finish of the feeling of finishing that and the achievement of that. I think I got under 50 minutes in my first 10K race, which I was really pleased with. I know I was really so. I've been, obviously I've been quietly building away in the background, and got my medals. Took the first medal selfie. Certainly, first of many, obviously. And I thought this is great. I really like this. And then I thought. So then I started looking at a bit longer races. Obviously, races were coming back slowly, and I signed up for the Big Half, 2021 Big Half, which was in August in 2021. And I went and did the Big Half, and it was just the novelty of running around Canary Wharf, And then you run, which was obviously I'd seen that on the marathon on the telly, ran around Canary Wharf, and then you run back. And you go across Tower Bridge. I thought this is cool. You know, I've never seen it on the telly. You know, people running across Tower Bridge and London Marathon, and then obviously the big half. You finish down in Greenwich in front of Canary Wharf, not Canary Wharf, Cutty Sark. And as we come into the finish, the family were there. They'd all come to watch, and my wife was doing it as well, and the family were all there watching and shouting my name and all that. And as you come through into the finish of Cutty, I mean, it's no London Marathon, but it you know, for you do your first big race, and you know, people are cheering. You know, the cheers.
I mean, it was my first half marathon as well.
And I
remember it wasn't that one. I'd done it a couple of years before, but the noise coming round the corner into Greenwich.
That's it.
I've never felt anything like that.
No.
You know, it's mental. This is
mental.
Yeah,
absolutely. So, and that was my feeling. It was like,
I
thought I crossed the line and got the medal and done all of that. And I thought, honestly, that was one of the best, one of the best experiences I've ever had. I thought this is brilliant. And that was the bug, really. That was it. I was like, right, what do I do next?
And when did FORDY Runs become part of your life?
Yeah, so wasn't too long after that. So following on from obviously big half and thinking, this is mega. This is all these people cheering and all of that. The adrenaline buzz you get through that. I put my name in the ballot for London Marathon. I had put my name in before. I put my name in for the ballot for London Marathon. I think it was my second time, and I got in. This is for 2022. So I got in for London for 2022. And I started looking up. I had no clue how to train for a marathon, as most people don't on their first one. You read all the gumph that London Marathon events send you. But and then I started looking on Facebook. I started looking for a group, and I found the London Marathon training group, which was obviously one of our FORDY Runs offshoot groups. And obviously, Chris puts on there, come and join the main group. So I went and joined the main group, and I became a bit of a background lurker. There's quite a lot of people start off in the background, and then I started watching the podcast or listening to the podcast. I take the podcast out on the walks and my runs sometimes, and I went in for a competition for a pair of Skechers, and I won one of the first competitions that he ran, that Chris ran through it, and I won the competition. So I think I got announced on the long run, or a shout out to me on the long run, and I got a pair of Skechers Go Ride 10s, run 10s, which were quite a nice little pair of trainers. And I thought, wow. And then I unfortunately I had to defer London 22 because I picked up an injury. But that was the year to defer. If you're going to defer in 22, because then, which was October 22.
You only had 6 months.
I only had 6 months. I thought I'll be all right in 6 months. So I deferred to 23, and sorry, woke up. And then so I did London Marathon 2023. Kind of as a background FORDY still. I remember seeing the cheer station at mile 19, and I remember seeing all the people there. And obviously it was first marathon's always, you never forget it. I've had better experiences since London the first time, because you need to work. I went out. I'm not kidding. I went out with about 18 gels, a packet of banana chips, a packet of jelly babies, and I was like a pack horse. And no wonder I hit the wall at mile 20. It was like, carrying all that away. But you learn, you learn as you go along. And then so I did 23, and then I went to Southend. I went on to Southend half. Still was not as a background FORDY. But being a bit of a lurker in the group, I kind of knew who people were, just because you see, you read the posts and all of that. But and I don't think I'm the only one to say this. It's kind of going along as a non-FORDY, to going along saying, hello, I'm Paul. I'm part of the group, but I'm not. I don't really. It's a difficult thing to do, because I mean, a lot of people probably won't believe this, but I do suffer a bit of shyness, or I certainly used to anyway. So I joined this mental running group that we're all part of. But I just do struggle sometimes with kind of social anxiety and stuff like that. So joining this club is obviously, and I know I speak for a lot of people here, it really does help get over things like that. So I was kind of like, I did Southend Half, and I saw obviously the pink picnic and everyone there, and I remember sitting under a tree. It was horrible. Did you do that one, 23? It was so hot. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I sat under this tree, and I was absolutely done. And I was all on my own. And I thought, why don't you go and join? Why don't you go along to a thing? Why don't you try it out? Go and see what it's like. Go and see what these people are really like. Because you've seen Wilco on the telly or on the podcast. You've seen all these faces. Let's go and find out what this lot are really like. So it was literally a case of that's what I did. I got myself a bib and a vest and a t-shirt. And I went along to Big Half 23. That was my first FORDY meetup. And the first person I spoke to was Mark Anderson. Good old Mark. We just chatted with Mark. I don't know what we chatted about. It's about the time he got up in the morning to drive down from Birmingham to London. And immediately I thought, Christ, these people are committed, I was in the photo, and then we went off and did the race, and obviously people were shouting your name, so I had Paul on the top, and saw a few FORDYs out on the course and gave them a wave, and I thought, this is good, and I went along to the Gypsy Moth for the drink afterwards, and started chatting to a few people. I was going around to everybody going, hi, did you enjoy the race? How was it? Which was your favourite? Honestly, I just to try and just kind of break the ice, sort of thing. And then I was obviously looking a bit tired, because I was stood next to Tracy Whittington, the legendary Tracy, and Mandy Orchard, and they said because I had the t-shirt, I said, Paul, you look really tired. Come and sit down with us. So I sat down with Mandy and I sat down with Tracy, and they just chatted to them, really, and just asking me where I was from and all of that kind of stuff. And then you came, and you won't remember, you came and joined us for a chat. And and it was quite a surreal moment, really, just getting involved, just getting involved and starting to meet a few people and talk to a few people, and that was it, really. And so it was September 23, and here I am now. That's kind of what got me into it. It was that kind of being on my own at a race. I really enjoyed the races. I was really enjoying doing races and all of that, but I thought, this is a good way of meeting some friends, because as you get a bit older, particularly blokes, I think I certainly find it difficult to make friends easily, because we're kind of set in our ways, and we know what we like. We've got life experience and all of that. So making new friends, sometimes isn't easy for us. And I was, a bit like that, really. I say I just a bit of social anxiety, a bit of shyness, and that kind of helped me, help get over some certain anxieties, and I just love the diversity of the club. You get to meet. I meet people from the north of England, Wilco. I know. I only ever saw them on Coronation Street. You know what I mean? But no.
So briefly, where have we been since then? What have you? So you did London. How many marathons you done now? How many halves and stuff?
Yes, I've done 4 marathons now. So I did London 23, and I think when you do your first marathon, I mean, when I did London, I thought I can't believe I've actually done that. I cannot believe I've actually run 26 miles. And it was a bit of a pinch me moment. And I actually managed to walk back to the pub and didn't fall over and all of that. I survived. So I kind of got the bug and I signed up for Brighton 24. And the goal was get under the magic sub 4. I did 4:09 in London first time. I thought I gave it a good old go, I'm really pleased with that. Got under the 4 hours at Brighton in 24. And did loads more halves and stuff like that. I went to Benidorm. So again, that was a big deal. First 40 abroady.
Yeah.
Which I loved. I had a stinking cold going out there, but I managed to stay up to 4 in the morning. I don't know how I managed that, and then I had laryngitis the next week, but it was the price worth paying. But so and then London 25 and Brighton 25. And
now I wanted to talk to you about this.
Yeah,
because I was doing Brighton. And I stood there, and your very good friend and training partner, virtually, Debbie Wellington, was there.
Debbie Wellington, legend.
And all of a sudden, you just rocked up in the park. And we knew that you were doing London 2 weeks later. Now, there must be, now we're recording this just before, on the dying embers of March. So Brighton is a couple of weeks away. And London London will be 4 weeks this year.
Yeah,
there must be people who are thinking that or are contemplating doing this 2 marathons in 2 weeks. I'd be interested to know what your experience was of actually completing that.
Yeah, so I signed up. So, and again, it's all your fault, Wilco, because you kicked off all the cool kids going to Brighton trend. You remember?
Oh, yeah.
And FOMO is a big thing in FORDY Runs, as everybody probably recognises. I thought, and I had the place in London, charity place in London, and that was all to look forward to. But I thought I could actually, maybe I could do this as a long run. It's 3 weeks out. Maybe I could do it as a long run. So I signed up for it. I paid the thing. I didn't tell anyone. At all. Because I didn't want to jinx anything, and I thought that if all goes wrong, I can drop it and do something else. But keep it, because that way you can do your long run. You see your mates. You go to Brighton as well. Mum and Dad live in Sussex, going down to see them, and it's best of both worlds, isn't it? But to see how you go. Anyway, training was going really well. And I was, as you say, Debbie, me and Debs, we do a lot of running together. She's kind of like my long run, chatty run partner. We have a great time. And I was helping her train because she was doing Brighton, and I was running with her, doing a few long runs. And she says, I wish you could run with me in Brighton, Paul. It'd be really helpful. And I'm like, So I told her about a week before. If anybody knows Debbie, she when she gets excited, she's very loud. She won't mind me saying that.
Oh, you told her then? She knew.
I told her. I said, look. I told her. I said, you got to keep it. I said, because I thought it'd be quite funny if I rock up. No one knows I'm there. If I rock up and go, hello guys, how you doing? Let's go and run a marathon. I thought, I don't know, just the
which is exactly what did happen.
Exactly. Yeah. It was like, what's Bolton doing here? What's Bolton doing? Yeah. So going back to your question. So if I can do it, anyone can do it. But I actually found it. I found it no different from when I did my long run before Brighton 24 and nothing. No, you've got to pace yourself. Obviously, you can't go out unless you're one of the super quick runners like we have in the group. You can't go out and absolutely tear it up and smash it and then expect 3 weeks later to go out and tear it up. I don't think so anyway. I think you need to be sensible about it. And just or you could always run the 20 miles and then walk the 6 miles. It's a good recovery walk. You can do that. That option is open to you, which is one of the things I was considering on doing, is getting Debs to 20 miles and then saying, I'll see you at the finish. You'll be fine. But in the end, we ran at a comfortable pace. The legs felt good. got to 20 miles. We kept going. We met up with Sue Flynn on the way. Sue ran with us for a little bit, and we just kept each other going, really. So I mean, if you're going to do something like that, I'd say try and do it with friends. Try and do it with some other people, because that will really help you. But it's, if you're sensible, you can do it. I mean, I know there's people who do Boston on the Monday and London on the Sunday. I know, obviously from the South End group, Nettie and Hells have done that, and that's that's an incredible achievement. That really takes some doing. But yeah, I think 3 weeks apart is my experience. Be sensible, manage your body. So after you've done your first marathon as your long run, just reintroduce a run a few days later. Take it easy and recover well. I think it's all about that recovery, because then obviously you're straight into taper. So
that bloke who rocked up at Billericay Park Run and now doing 2 marathons in a fortnight.
Exactly.
But I mean, I suppose that just to wind things up, like the message has been, like the impact of all these friends you've made and the social interaction that the club has brought has just helped your running go on leaps and bounds. And it brings another dimension to it. I was enjoying running before I joined the club, but now it just it brings an extra dimension, an extra piece of enjoyment, and and loving it, mate, loving it. Well, it's been great, Paul. I mean, people have got their money's worth. They've not had so much of me, but they've had plenty of you over the last 36 minutes. So that's good.
Oh, once you get me going, mate, I don't shut up. And I've managed to steer clear of any of the terrible jokes. I don't know how I've done it.
Yeah, well, don't worry, folks. The terrible jokes will be back on Facebook within a few hours. So we don't have to worry about that. Thanks very much, mate. Thanks for your time. You've been a brilliant
Wilco.
on Beneath the Bib. Thanks ever so much, everybody, for your attention. We'll be back with more Beneath the Bib interviews in the next few days. Please remember to like us and subscribe us, and tell your friends. And we'll see you again soon. Thanks very much.
Thanks, mate.